The right to one's own creation, one's own labor, is at the very heart of the private property debate. It's as if you took the watchmaker analogy, and instead of asking whether or not God created humans, you instead asked whether or not the watchmaker matters in the creation of the watch. Why shouldn't we all have the watch, access to the watch? Obviously, only one person can have a watch at a time. That's the point, too. The right to one's own creation takes another place in modern politics, and that's the abortion debate. Pro-choice argues that a woman has a right to her own bodily autonomy, and she has the right to her own creation inside of her own bodily autonomy. The right to one's creation allows her, theoretically, to go ahead and terminate her own creation because it is her that is creating it. But it's as if that entire argument is ignored by those advocating against private property. No, instead, it's as if they were always advocating that because it is inside of her body, that they have a right to terminate it, instead of the element of creation. Instead, similarly, I should say, because we exist in a society, in a government, in a nation, everyone in it should have a right to your property. You see the correlation. This is extremely fallacious, for many reasons. One should have a right to their own labor, and that's what lies at the heart of what makes private property private, what makes me own certain property, and also what makes a woman, what allows a woman to go ahead and abort, so the argument goes. So let's discuss whether or not private property, what happens when someone takes your private property. Of course, there's going to be a myriad of different definitions for what private property is and how it intersects with the definition of personal property, intellectual property. But I would make the case that once private property rights cease to exist, so do intellectual property rights and personal property rights, because the definitions do blur in quite a lot. Do I have a right to the art that I create? Well, do I have a right to the shoes that I wear? Do I have a right to the house that I build? The house that I pay for? All of these stem from the right to one's own creation, the right to one's own labor. And stealing from somebody is tantamount to slavery. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why do I say that? Well, stealing, rendering someone's labor to not benefit me, myself. If my own labor doesn't benefit me, myself, but instead benefits someone I never intended to benefit, that is functionally the same as slavery. It's as if you went back in time. If you stole a house that I built, let's say, it's as if you went back in time and you enslaved me and made me go ahead and build that house for you, because the result is the same. You're just retroactively enforcing this same oppressive standard of slavery. Now, you might argue that, oh, I had the liberty to do that in my own, during the time that I went and I built that house. But that doesn't logically make sense, considering no matter what, you are violating my liberty through exploitation and deception. In this instance, it would be deception. It's exploitation no matter what. And I find it really ironic that it's the socialists that are advocating for slavery, essentially. Now, again, you might say, oh, it's functionally different. I had the liberty while I created it. It doesn't matter, because you exploited that labor that I used and you took it for yourself. That is slavery. It would be no different from if you forced me to do it myself and you took that property, that labor that I gave, that effort and you stole that for you. It is functionally the same. Marxism is not an ideology that frees you from your shackles. Whether or not he intended it to be or not is irrelevant. It's an ideology that shackles you to another person. It shackles you to your entire nation. It's oppressive in nature. Because why do I have a right? Why do I have to... Why does my labor have to go to the benefit other people? Why does my labor have to benefit anyone but myself? Socialism doesn't answer that. Instead, it advocates that your labor should only benefit other people, or else it's immoral. That's if they even believe in the concept of morality, because moral relativism would dictate that anything can be moral so long as the situation, so long as the situation would justify it. And of course, justification is also subjective. So we have this forever infinite loop of just completely ignoring how to treat someone with respect. So how to treat one's labor with respect. It completely ignores all of it. That's the end.